From Interior Alaska's most trusted news source, this is the Fbx Evening News.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us. Our top story, the Alaska Railroad Corporation has announced a major corporate restructuring, which includes the elimination of 54 positions statewide.
Now, the move is a cost-cutting measure due to significant drops in revenue streams, reduced federal funding, and additional financial obligations due to unfunded federal mandates. ARRC has experienced a $45 million negative swing in finances from 2011 until now. 25 of the 54 positions eliminated are already vacant, including 2 of 3 positions being eliminated right here in Fairbanks. ARRC President and CEO Chris Adnison says they take the loss of employees very seriously. The only silver lining, he says, is to the outside eye, the Railroad Corporation remains unchanged.
Our goal in this reorganization was not only to save money, but to make sure we did it in a manner where if you're outside the organization, like you're a passenger on one of our passenger trains or a shipper that uses our freight, everything will seem the same. The quality of the service and the amount of service will be the same as it has been. Where it will look different is if you're inside the company.
A project to archive records related to the Exxon Valdez oil spill is continuing despite concerns raised by a federal judge. U.S. District Judge Russell Holland had expressed concerns it would inadvertently affect an ongoing dispute in the case. The Attorney General's office assured Holland that no records have been destroyed as part of the project and none will be until the judge gives his okay. The project allows archivists to determine which records have permanent value and should be saved for research and review and which no longer need to be kept.
A 28-year-old Fairbanks man will serve a year in jail for an assault on his former girlfriend. Jordan Blake Brock had originally been charged with kidnapping and second-degree assault. Brock pled guilty to a single count of third-degree assault and had other charges against him dismissed. Authorities say after a night of drinking, Brock held the woman at knife point and prevented her from escaping to her grandmother's home. Brock told troopers he was upset because he and the woman had broken up.
I made sure that when he pled down on my case that I made testimony to the courts that it wasn't the theft, it was the fact that this man is a sexual predator, and I had strong feelings that this was not going to end here. And as you can see, he is now going to jail for sexual abuse of 2 minors. I don't think he should have gotten away as lightly as he had.
Well, 8 years in jail for a 26-year-old Fairbanks man who sexually abused 2 young girls. Michael Leggett Jr. pled guilty and was sentenced during hearings this morning in Superior Court. Leggett had been charged with 6 counts of second-degree sexual abuse of a minor as well as felony theft in another case. He pled guilty to 2 counts of second-degree sexual abuse of a minor, and all other charges were dropped. Fairbanks police say the charges were in connection with an August 2012 incident they responded to at a Southside residence. Leslie Wall, the victim in the theft case against Leggett, spoke to the News Center about the plea deal, and that is the soundbite that you heard previous to this story. Okay.
I made sure that when he pled down on my case that I made testimony to the courts that it wasn't the theft, it was the fact that this man is a sexual predator, and I had strong feelings that this was not going to end here. And as you can see, he is now going to jail for sexual abuse of 2 minors. I don't think he should have gotten away as lightly as he had.
All right, well, changing gears, the weather has been really nice out.
That's one good thing that's happening today.
That is. So, Mike, you know what? Tell us some good news.
Boy, it can't get much better than this as it was today, Stephanie. We had 37 for our high today. Now, the temperatures are going to continue to be quite mild tomorrow. The only downside is that the roads are really getting slick out there, so keep that in mind. Here's what's going on in our latest satellite and radar. Actually, just radar right now. We'll show you satellite later on. But you can see where the snow and ice freezing line is at, way down to the south. And some of it started to creep its way into the interior, I should say. But by the time it gets to the Fairbanks area, it just kind of washes out. Not a whole lot of driving force behind it, except for the winds that are bringing in the warm temperatures. Those are going to continue at least through tomorrow. Now, in the lower 48, we've got another big storm coming in the west coast. Los Angeles is getting clobbered. We'll tell you all about all that with all the weather later on. Daryl, Stephanie?
Thank you, Mike. Well, when we come back, a state elections official has called on Senator Mark Begich regarding statements that he made about access to voting in Alaska.
Also, the USARAC Commanding General visited the Interior today. Those stories are next. Stay with us.
This edition of the Fairbanks Evening News is brought to you by Prospector Outfitters and by Kendall Auto of Fairbanks.
Welcome back. A state elections official has called on Senator Mark Begich regarding statements that he made about access to voting in Alaska. Begich, in a speech to state lawmakers on Monday, said he was concerned about recent trends in Alaska that made voting more difficult, particularly for Alaska Native and other minority groups. Begich said the Parnell administration has fought against Native language ballots and is seeking exemption from federal review of state election law. The director of the Division of Elections says she strongly disputes that the state has imposed any obstacles to voting. Gail Fenumier stated the state has a robust language assistance program that is mandated by a section of the Voting Rights Act that the state is not challenging. Senator Begich's office responded by saying his comments were accurate and they reflect the troubling experiences that he's been hearing from many rural Alaskans.
As we reported, it was ordered that wolves near 2 villages on the upper Koyukuk River be killed as part of a wolf reduction program. That has now been stopped due to fewer wolves in the area than previously expected. The reason to shoot the wolves was to boost the number of moose northwest of Fairbanks. Alaska Department of Fish and Game wildlife biologists have shot and killed 17 wolves from a helicopter near the villages of Alakakik and Alatna. With no more being spotted, the aerial hunt has been halted. It was estimated there were up to 50 wolves in the area. The goal was to eliminate all the wolves for the next 5 years to help increase moose survival. State biologists say the moose population in the area has declined from about 2,000 in the early 1990s to roughly 400 now.
Business owners usually have an annual budget that helps them to make their decisions and workplace changes. But if you had a 20 to 30% of your budget taken away, this will have a major impact on your business. The commander of USARAC told an audience of businessmen this is the dilemma that the United States Army is currently facing as the Defense Department budget cuts are being imposed. The general says in addition to affecting the civilian workers at Fort Richardson, Fort Wainwright, and Elmendorf Air Force Base, defense cuts will have a powerful effect on the Alaskan Command Defense.
1 March, we're executing the law. And so we're dealing with that. And it'll reduce the amount of training that we do. It will cause us to incur, to defer, which will cause us to incur additional maintenance costs. It will certainly limit our activity. And these guys are working very hard every day to determine exactly what that is.
With another delay implemented on sequestration, a lot of federal budget cuts won't kick in now until fall. News Center 11's Monty Bowen talked with Senator Lisa Murkowski about the situation.
As the state legislature talks about fighting federal overreach, Senator Lisa Murkowski is dealing with budget cuts that could have a great impact on Alaska. Until the situation came up, most people had never heard the term sequestration.
Sequestration in Washington, D.C. lingo is an indiscriminate, across-the-board cut.
That's what happened when the Budget Control Act was passed in 2011. The plan was to kick in cuts.
We kicked it down to March 1, thinking we will figure out a way to avoid the heavy hand of across-the-board indiscriminate cuts. We didn't do it.
Each side pointed fingers, blaming the other, and nothing was accomplished.
So what does it mean to us? It means that $85 billion in savings must be found between now and September 30th.
People across the country are anxious about the impacts.
And in Alaska, where we receive about 1/3 of our state's budget comes from federal revenues, whether it's for military, for veterans, for IHS, those dollars come our way. And so we will see those impacts.
Monty Bowen, News Center 11.
More cuts looming in the future now.
Absolutely, and the impact here in the interior
It's already seen.
Yeah, it's already starting, so it'll be interesting to see. Yeah.
Who's waiting in the wings?
Well, impactful himself, Joe Cook. He's waiting right over there because, well, he's just up to the minute sports guy he is. He's going to talk to us about the Nanook hockey team as they prepare for the first round and the last round of the CCHA playoffs forever and Mid-Alaska Conference tournament that is Friday. And he also previews both West Valley teams and a player who is an inspiration to her teammates. Joe with sports.
Brought to you by the Law Office of Rita T. Alley. Peace of mind through professional legal services.
Hello, Interior Alaska. Joe Cook here in the sports seat for you this evening. It's time for some Channel 11 sports. The West Valley Wolfpack basketball teams are gearing up for the Mid-Alaska tournament. First-year coach Kamani Shotwell at the helm, and freshman Daniel Hornbuckle and senior Lorenzo Graham have led this team to a second seed. A win against North Pole gives them a date with rival Lathrop for the title on Saturday. The girls have a bye and are the #1 seed as well. Head coach Steve Kachary's key players include Callie Franz, Caitlin Bryce, Marina Washburn, Elijah Ashmore, and Carly Marquez, who have all taken over games this year for big wins. They await the winner of North Pole and Lathrop on Friday night. Now, yesterday in the IFSS World Championships, there was a finish that would make you say, really? In the women's ski-jor and polka combined 2x5K race, Susanna Kelly beat Yvette Hoyle by 1/10 of a second. Both are teammates from Norway and have been finishing in the top 3 in all Nordic events. The golden boy from Finland, Vesa-Pekka Järvelin, won the men's ski-jor and polka combined by 26 seconds, giving him 4 goals, a sweep of all men's Nordic events. In the Iditarod, Lance Mackey was first to the halfway point, coming in to the Iditarod checkpoint last night around 8:30 with 13 dogs. Mackey's in third, and he received $3,000 in gold. And for the current leaders, the top racers like Sonny Linder, who's in 4th, or Jeff King at 5th, have not taken their 24-hour break, except for Martin Boozer and Ali Zirkle, who are the top 2, Boozer at #1, and Jeff King rounds out the top 5. Now, your Alaska Nanook hockey team is getting ready to host Michigan State in the first round of the CCHA playoffs this Friday in the Carlson. If the last regular season series between this team is any indication, this should be a great 3-game series. The Nanooks split with the Spartans losing 1-0, then 4-2 in a win. The Nanooks are 5th in the nation. The penalty kill at 89.5%, which is also best in the CCHA. The Spartans come in splitting their last 4 games. The Nanooks are excited, but aim to be focused in Game 1.
We know it's going to be an intense series, so we're trying to be intense in practice, stay positive, and we're really looking forward to this weekend.
Guys are laying down in front of shots, and we haven't even played yet, so it's kind of nice to see. And you know, we stick to those little things and keeping pucks on the outside and using our wheels and getting pucks in net. I think we're going to be just fine.
The D's playing well, so it makes it easy for me to play well. We're communicating really well right now, and everybody's blocking shots, so everybody's doing their job right now.
And at the top of the sportscast, we mentioned the West Valley Wolfpack girls basketball team. A trip to the state tournament will be on the line Saturday in the MAC title game, but the Wolfpack have one player on their team whose game and mere presence speaks volumes. Meet Lajan Ashmore. The senior West Valley guard is averaging 8 points, 3 rebounds, and 3 steals per game, and her relentless style of play has helped West Valley to a #1 seed in the Mid-Alaska Conference tournament.
The dedication she has to getting better and to being a good teammate, not just a player, but a teammate, is amazing.
While most people hear this at a game, Lajan only hears this. Lajan is deaf.
Lajan faces obstacles we can't even imagine every single day, so I really have no excuse, and it pushes me to be a better player.
The team didn't use Lajan's hearing impairment as an excuse and developed a system of hand signals, sign language, and body language to communicate with her. It's brought the team closer.
You get to know each other. They get to know me. When you get to know somebody, you feel comfortable.
You get to play with someone that can't hear anything, and I think it's really neat that she can come out here and play amazing.
It has helped us be a better team, and it's helped me be a better coach, and just that whole part of that's so important in sport, being able to communicate while the game's going on is extremely vital.
The team also has Wendy Cogley, who has been Lajan's interpreter for 2 years and is an integral part of the communication during games.
She knows to look to me And I've asked her to, if you please could sign it back so I know you've received it, then I can sit down and breathe.
One good thing is that Lodgen can't hear trash talk.
I remember they were trying to yell at me. I looked at them like, okay, just...
According to the Hearing Health Foundation, 1 out of 5 Americans are hard of hearing in at least one ear. Lodgen hasn't let her handicap or even her mom stop her from playing basketball. She's the second person in her family to play high school basketball and is one of the top track athletes in the state in the 100 and 400 meters. When you see Lodgen on the track or on the court, she wants people to remember one important thing.
I might be hard of hearing, but I don't want people to see me that. I want people to see I'm people too. I just want to be the same.
Well, Lodgen Ashmore is definitely a role model. And that'll do it for sports tonight. Thanks for joining me. Mike Schultz has your full weather forecast coming up next, and we'll catch you next time.
Hey, welcome back to Fbx Evening News. Once again, Mike Schultz with you for a look at weather. We've had a lot of photographs from folks sending in different moose shots, and here's another one. This one from Rylene Ann. I'll call it another moose on the loose because the moose is there guarding her baby in the background there. Again, if you have a photograph to share, even if it's a moose shot, give it to me. Send to me, I should say, at Mike Schultz at KTBF11.com. Okay, here's what the numbers look like. 37 degrees for the high today. That's what the current temperature is. The low last night, 10 below. Record high, 48, 1949. 45 below in 1936. Sunrise, 7:38. Sunset will be at 6:29 this evening, giving us 10 hours, 51 minutes of daylight, a gain of 7 minutes from yesterday. Here's our satellite picture, even more impressive than it was yesterday. As you can see, a lot of moisture moving up from the south, not quite making it across the Alaska range, but also bringing a lot of warm air with it, as was evidenced by the temperatures today. That's going to continue because the area of low pressure is going to move off to the west, but still bring a lot of warm air up with it. What's going on across the rest of the state? Well, again, warm air. Bethel, 43 degrees, 40 degrees around the Bethel area. Cold Bay, 42 degrees, 40 at Kodiak, and 44 degrees at Ketchikan, so a lot of warm air with that system. Just the opposite on the north slope, 8 degrees below zero. Barrow, looking for a blizzard to move in there tonight. We'll talk more about that later on. What's going on in the lower 48? Well, we'll move across and you see rain falling over the south central sections of California, right on down to the southern areas of California. Elsewhere, things are calming down quite a bit across the central plains. Still some lingering snow around the New York and New Jersey area. And this storm system will bring more snow to the Boston area tonight, while this next storm system continues to move slowly across Southern California. When it moves onto the plains, it's going to become another big weather feature with lots of powerful thunderstorms and more snow to talk about. And we'll be talking about that probably into the weekend starting tomorrow. Tonight, this storm system is moving ashore in the Southern California areas with hail and heavy rain and heavy mountain snow. They need it for the drought situation down there, so it's kind of a blessing in disguise. And the overall jet stream, once again, will continue to drive cold air way down to the south, helping to fuel that storm system as it moves across the central plains over the weekend. Well, back to Alaska for tomorrow in the northern sections. Blizzards at Barrow and also Nome for snowfall about 4 to 6 inches. Lots of sunshine, though, at Fort Yukon. Here in the interior, we'll be looking at very windy conditions continuing at Healy with plenty of sunshine at Fairbanks. Over the southeast part of the state, rain and snow have returned to Juneau, and Ketchikan will see cloudy skies. Over to the southwest, we'll be looking at snow at Bethel and Cold Bay, rain and snow for Kodiak Island. And south central sections, we'll be looking at a little bit of rain and snow in Anchorage and Homer, with 2 to 4 inches of snow expected in Valdez. Okay, once again, time for our kids' weather. And this week, we'll be talking with the kids from Wood River Elementary School. But tonight, let's hear from the teacher.
Hello, I'm Mr. Cox, and this is my 4th grade class at Wood River Elementary School. And we have an interesting weather fact that we would like to share with you. Class, did you know that even though the sky on Earth is blue, on Mars it is pink, and it's yellow on Venus, and black on the moon?
And next week, even though it's spring break, we're going to hear from the kids from Northern Lights Academy. All right, it is a Thursday night, which means it's time for our road conditions. You can see here, icy patches and snow-packed roads on the Station Elliott Highway, Richardson Highway, gusty winds, black ice, very slick conditions, and the Parks Highway reporting some drifting snow here and there with frosted pavement. Again, thanks to Jose Body and Paint and the Department of Transportation for the state of Alaska. Our forecast for tonight, 12 degrees above zero for the overnight low, Continued cloudy skies. Tomorrow, again, another mild temperature day, 35 degrees, lots of sunshine, and the temperatures will start cooling over the weekend. Even a chance of a little snow possibly Sunday night into Monday, but very little snow expected. Temperatures still continuing very warm, though. As you can see here, we're looking at daytime highs in the 20s and overnight lows in the single digits above zero. Still great weather for the ice park this weekend.
That was a really good overnight forecast, Mike.
Well, I worked hard.
Thank you. I love it.
I call it as I see it. How's that?
And I love it how you see it.
All right.
Okay, guys, that will wrap up this
She's looking for a loan or something, I know.
For the news, we're glad you could join us.
And NBC Nightly News with Brian Williams is coming up next.
You could join us here 6 days a week at 6 and at 11 or online anytime at webcenter11.com.
Speaking of the ice park, we're going to leave you with some more photos and video of the ice park. Great, great sculptures. Hope to see you back here at 11. Until then, enjoy the video.